There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Matt Ward here, president of Auvoria Prime, and I am excited for this moment right here, a product that you guys have all come to love and know, and that is GearBox. And we're super excited that Tyler Mackechnie, the developer of GearBox, is on with us today and is going to be sharing all the updates to 2.0. I can tell you guys that I've never seen this man this excited in a very long time about something that that has been created here, and the new features and everything for a safer experience, but also to get more profits throughout your experience with GearBox. So if you guys are in the chat, I don't know if you guys can say hi to us in the chat. This is a webinar, but man, I'd love to say hi to you guys. If you want to tell us where you're calling from or zooming in from around the world. I don't know if I can see your chats on here or not, but I'd love to say hi to you guys and give you guys a shout out in here. I don't know how the webinar, if it'll work the same way or not, but if it is, you can definitely pop in here and say hello. Also, make sure to reach out to your team, your chats, tell them to get on here, because there's gonna be a lot of information that Tyler's gonna be sharing with you guys, and he's gonna be diving in deep on all the new features that GearBox has, and I don't want you guys to miss one single moment of this. And all your teammates will be like, well, tell me about this and tell me about that. And you said, hey, you should be on the call, right? So we're very excited you guys are here. Really exciting time here in Auvoria Prime. So Tyler Mackechnie, man, we appreciate you, bro, everything that you do here at AP. We get to work almost every day together, and the stuff we're always working on the background. But I know that this man has been working tirelessly. I'm talking sleepless nights, making sure that GearBox 2.0 is perfect for you guys. And I'm super excited for him to share with you guys all the new features that is coming out with GearBox. So Tyler Mackechnie, brother, I will turn this call over to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. And it's awesome to be with every one of you. Like Matt has mentioned, it's been a while since I've been this excited about something. I was always excited about GearBox, but I've noticed, in the September month especially, there were some crazy market events again on many currency pairs. And we had been testing GearBox 2.0 and GearBox Pro for really the last 8 months. Since the beginning of the year, we had been working on the major, most important feature that is what makes 2.0, as well as working on the Pro features for more advanced users. Now, to start out, what makes GearBox 2.0 so different from the previous version of GearBox? Now, if you're somebody who has never used GearBox and you're on this call, don't worry. We're going to get a little bit into GearBox, its strategy, how it trades. But for those of you who have used GearBox, you've been a GearBox customer in the past, you've seen results with GearBox, the number one feature, right? All right, I want to see some 777s in the chat if you want to know what the number one feature is for why this became 2.0, right? It's not another update to 1.3, but why did we make GearBox 2.0, right? What makes this a brand new product, a brand new addition, something that is completely changing the game on these trading accounts? And this has been a feature that's actually been asked for since before this was GearBox. When I say before this was GearBox, I mean when this was just a base algorithm that some of us were playing around with 4 or 5 years ago, that has been just added upon. But this one feature is known as trailing stop losses on all levels. Okay, so what this means is previously, if you ever were an intraday user of GearBox, you probably had seen GearBox use some form of trailing stop loss on the trades. But if you are a precision user, chances are you never even saw a trailing stop loss in your life on GearBox. You only saw take profits. And what we would see happen if I had to give you a visual, I'll actually just pull up a quick trading view chart and explain, because for those of you who know what's going on, I'll try to explain what makes this feature so powerful. So I'm going to just go ahead and use a very volatile pair as an example, something like the Great British Pound New Zealand dollar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of explain what happens here. So if you were a previous GearBox customer, right, chances are, let's say you were trading GBP NZD and you were trying to get into sells. Okay, well, it starts taking sells in the Ghost server, and then it takes the actual sells on your trading account somewhere around here. Well, let's give an example. Let's say you were using Ghost plus Real Trades take profit, which is the largest take profit. Chances are you could have gotten in those sells, but this move may not have been enough to get to your take profit. And then it reverses, right? And now you're back in, say, drawdown. And then you have to wait even longer till you get here. Well, what if instead you could have simply just deployed what we call a trailing stop loss? So what would happen is, let's say you're in these sells and it finally starts going this way, but you had set it to real trades only. Well, it maybe would have gotten out of here, but instead of actually exiting there, deploy a trailing stop loss that would further have possibly been able to capitalize on all of this, or had gotten you out of the trade without a loss if it was starting to go the other way. Now, this is a bad example because this trade would have played out in your favor. But there are plenty of scenarios in the past where what I've seen happen, even on my own trading accounts, I was going for this large take profit. You know, if your take signals, maybe we're talking TP3, right? I would go for the large take profit. And what would end up happening is it wouldn't hit, or it would just miss it, and the trade would reverse. And now I would be stuck in this trade for a month, 2 months sometimes, when I could have already exited the trade in profit. So we noticed that by adding this feature alone, it's going to lower a lot of the times where GearBox even ever got into a potentially high drawdown. And when I say potentially high, I'm talking anything about 15%. Some people's definition of high drawdown is a little bit different. But you know, in those peaks, most of the time I'd notice it was because of something you got stuck in that you could have already had the opportunity to exit, and it didn't happen because you just missed take profit, or take profit was 20 pips away, but you were already up 100 pips. And now you're down 30 again. It's like, no, make GearBox trade more like a manual trader would, is what I mean. Instead of holding this and playing for the full swing and allowing yourself to get back in drawdown, secure your profit, secure the bag. And this feature, again, this is something people have been asking us for a long time, and we've been testing this feature nonstop. And when I say nonstop, I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys. These are all VPSs up here that you see of me running different GearBox instances. In fact, one of the ones I just set up, this is a large VPS, and you guys know how I had data accounts on every single currency pair on version 1.0. If you ever tuned into my weekly calls, you know I ran an individual $500 live account on every single currency pair in version 1 since we started 2 years ago. Well, I'm continuing to run those original accounts with the 2.0 update, so we have long history, but I also started brand new, fresh $500 data accounts on every single currency pair, so we can also continue to see with the new features how we're performing and optimized based around each of these pairs. So I literally set this up the other night. These are each running swing. We can see we just took a trade on AUD CAD. Let's see what level we were running on swing here on AUD CAD. And we took a level 4 right there. You can see, you know, so we're running this thing on every single currency pair. And yes, this is a very beefed up VPS. It's handling 28 instances of GearBox, but we are running it every single pair individually on this VPS. We can see we are in a trade here also on CHF-JPY. Now, CHF-JPY isn't a recommended pair typically, but again, I run data on every pair. to continue to see how they perform. And through time, we've learned what pairs perform the best, which pairs don't. And I continue to run the worst performers for more data. Because you can never have enough data. But this is just to show you how we optimize. Euro USD, we're in a trade right now, a buy. Go to the comments, level 4, just took, already in profit, right? So very cool to see what's going on. We have a GBP CAD buy, and these are all just the data accounts. So then on top of the data accounts, then we obviously are running plenty of other accounts with the strategies, testing things such as gold, indices outside of Forex. We're also in profitable trades in USD CAD here. So you can see that, we're getting some activity already this week on some of the pairs. And this is why we run these data accounts. So we can have true results on how every single individual pair is constantly performing with GearBox. Dominic, yeah, those are crazy results this week. So super exciting things. I see somebody said they didn't get any trades this month on swing, which, it sounds like something's wrong with your setup. You might want to look into that because these accounts were set up 3 nights ago on swing, and I just showed you a ton of trades. So definitely take a look at that. But in understanding this, so here's where you're going to see these new features when you come into GearBox. So you're going to have both GearBox and GearBox Pro on your VPS. So 2.0 simply just adds the trailing stop loss feature, and it changes the take profits. They used to be default on Ghost plus Real. It changes them to Real Trades double TP. If you want to secure the profit even earlier, you can go to Real Trades only, because now the trailing stop loss will still trail your profit. So you can choose the earliest stop or the earliest take profit, knowing that when those trends do happen, you're still going to be able to capitalize on it. You can also change what you want to start your trailing hedge by. So this isn't where it starts. It starts at the take profit, and it'll trail by the amount of pips you put here. So by default, that's at 25 pips, and by default, enable trailing stop will be on. So many of you, when you get this update, you're going to see your take profits removed. So if you had take profits, they're all going to disappear, and the trailing stop loss is going to run behind the scenes to where when your TP would have hit, it's now going to start to deploy trailing stop losses. So super powerful stuff. And those are going to be the main change 2.0. Now you might ask about pro settings, the starting pro settings. And these are, again, advanced features. If you've never used GearBox before, this might not make sense to you, but if you are an avid GearBox user, the pro settings that we added, one is close at max number of gears. So let's say you change your max number of gears to 5 and you enter on, let's say 3. Well, that means you can only take 3 and 4. And if it would have hit 5, it's going to close all your trades on that pair. So this is almost a per pair equity protector to be able to tell it if your max number of gears is hit, just close out that sequence, rather than having an equity protector in your whole account that now closes out one pair that the trade was going to go profitable, but it took this negative one and closed them all out. Instead of that, now you can just close out individual pairs if they go against you, especially for those of you who might do more custom things, aggressive things. You have this closed basket at max number of gears. Then another advanced feature that kind of goes hand in hand with the trailing stop, I should say, is restart gear range with first real trade. So easy example is if I go back to trading view here, we're not logged into this account right now, and we're not going to do that. So we'll just refresh. Okay. So in understanding restarting range on first real trade, I'll give you an example. Let's say you were trying to get into GBP NZD sells, and this thing was going, and it took, let's say it's first sell here. Okay. Well, this wouldn't have deployed any levels. You would have had a profit, possibly hit take profit, but had it gone up, what it'll do is instead of, I'll make it easier. How about you entered the trade rate here? All right. And instead of waiting another 150 pips for the next trade, what if it restarted and went 21 pips, 35 pips, 50 pips, right? And it started to stack in more trades with the trailing stop loss, and you use this on super sniper is my place I would use this, because it is riskier if you use it in swing or sniper. But if you use it in super sniper mode, you're waiting for such a precise entry on a trade, like a sniper entry. Super sniper would almost kind of wait for like somewhere around here in this exact setup. And then it would deploy, okay, right here. And then it would deploy a few more trades right here before the drop. And then imagine it trailed all of those trades. Instead of only taking one trade right here, let's say you're able to stack in 3 trades really quickly and then trail all of those. So that was the idea I had behind that strategy, was to wait for much more precise entries, but be able to stack a few entries right at that moment and then be able to trail them for a maximum movement. You could really catch some large pit movements with low lot exposure and lower risk for sure. So really just designing some very advanced features to allow customers like yourselves to be able to, check everything. It's going to be very beautiful. So we're excited about this. Now to give you guys some kind of examples on, okay, well, we just set up those swing accounts on the Forex pairs this week, but how have things been going elsewise? Obviously these are my original 1.0 data accounts, but I want to be able to go ahead and show you guys something real quick. So ignore the fact that this is a larger demo account, but let's just look at the lot sizes and where the trailing stop losses kicked in. So right here on 10/24 was our first trade with the new version on this account. And we're just taking 0.01 trades, but I want you to ignore this profit. Some of this is not just from these updates, but if you look at this column right here and we take a look at this profit, this is taking lot sizes that $1,000 account would take and running settings of what I would typically run on $1,000 account. Maybe 1,500 if you're a safer user and you have a little less risk tolerance, right? But you would have taken all these trades and you can see where the trails kicked in on many of them and just crushed it out of the water. USD CAD secured $27 on a trade. Euro NZD secured $24 on a trade on 0.01 and 0.02 lot sizes because of this new trailing stop loss feature, which means that literally in the last week, not even 6 days, that this account on $1,000 would have been up over close to 13% now in a week. Now, I'm not telling you you're going to go blow those kind of months out of the water. Again, this is all based on market conditions. There might be times that your trailing stop loss kicks in and takes you out for a little less than break even and you don't make any profit. But when it does work, and in this example, it's worked very well the last week. And again, we're not changing anything about GearBox's strategy. All we did is we added a feature that essentially decreases risk and increases profit potential. I never like to mess with the algorithm. I only like to optimize based around data of where we enter and how we take profit. The algorithm itself has always stayed the same since the entirety of this product space. We have not changed that. And that's one of the beautiful things that allows us to compound and add these new features in the way we do. But just looking at that, think about this, $1,000 account running normal settings, and let's just say 1,500 should really be the minimum, just to be honest. I mean, it's a crazy market these days. I would recommend at least 1,500 with GearBox, but running those settings, it would have been up close to 12% on the week or more. So, I mean, I don't know if that excites you. Now, this is, yes, we can see this is on H1. This is for testing. So that's obviously going to create a little bit more trades than the daily, but not too much that it makes a large difference, but enough there would be a slight variation in profit compared to the daily. And just seeing this, we can see the trailing stop loss. This feature is working beautifully. What it's been able to do for the profit potential when trades do swing in the right direction is massive. And you can see the deployment of low lot. So I like to focus on low lot exposure. And seeing how much profit we can pump with tiny lots. That's really, I think, everybody's goal, because there's, again, times markets go against you and you don't want to be in large lots or large exposure to the market when there's crazy things that happen. So if you can get as much money with as little exposure to the market, then you're doing the right things. So let's keep going into some VPSs here. Okay, so I've also been testing a bunch of different things. We can talk about gold specifically being one. So this gold account, this is actually Forex right here, this one, this account, we started as well about a week ago. And you can see just running the normal settings on a 10K account with very low lot exposure. We're taking 0.07, 0.08, right, on 10K. So I'd say about 0.01 per 1,500 on the lot size. And this one's running the daily and only running, some of the better pairs. And it's been performing very great, but I've also been testing gold very heavily. This is not the one. Which account is that? There we go. This is a different gold one. There we go. So here's gold running as well. This account started a week ago, and what's cool about this strategy is we're really allowing it to only take level 2 through 5. If it went to 6, we would close out all trades. So it's kind of just capitalizing on those precise movements, but it's up over $325 close profit and 1.5% floating for the week, and right now in $40 floating. And this is again using the trailing stop loss feature. We've also even been testing on US 30, and I want to show this to not impress upon you should do this. These aren't recommended pairs, but why I'm impressed with US 30 is we got caught in this drop right here, and this account's only down 0.73% for the week. It was up 1%. It lost that and then that, but it's been trailing. We've been kind of focusing on where the right levels are to take trades, and I'm always testing things, and even in live environments, testing US 30, as you can see. So we're gathering as much data to continue to expand upon pairs outside of Forex, because again, if you understand GearBox and you understand the math and the settings, everything that you get, and this is 2.0, ignore the fact it says 1.01. This is a developer version that we were running before we made the fancy naming. But you can see that the trailing is working. This feature is incredible, and it's opening up a lot of possibilities for people, with this new feature. So a lot of excitement, a lot of things I'm very fired up about. I'm sure you guys should be. Now, even in like large accounts, we're testing things that you can't really do on small accounts. Like for example, this is something I set up at 4 a.m. this morning. And you can see since setting it up at 4 a.m. on gold on a 100K account, it's up $1,500 and it's $219 floating. Now this is taking instant entries, but it's taking low lots to start, and it's scalping in and out of the market with, a kind of a max risk as well. So, kind of impressive, takes a lot of trades, low lots, also testing again, another one taking a little bit smaller starting lots as well, scalping in sooner and taking a lot more levels. That's, trading as well, and made some money this morning. So we're constantly testing new things. And that's what, I encourage everybody. We have things that we know work live, and these are the things we'll educate on. But with the product of GearBox and all of these amazing settings, there's so many customizable things you can do with proper risk management. We would just always recommend, using a hard equity protector, number one. That's the biggest thing. And having a balanced protection mode to stop taking trades at a reasonable drawdown as well, to protect yourself. And if you're a pro user, now you have the max close all per pair on Max Gear Reach. So you can set that threshold as well if you understand the product very well. There's just a lot of amazing things that can be done with GearBox and GearBox 2.0, and especially Pro. And we're going to continue to add more features to this arsenal, especially Pro. We're going to be adding a lot of advanced features, but GearBox 2.0, it is a product that, again, has been a staple. Just the last few months, we've been seeing some phenomenal retail users results, even using GearBox 1.0. So we're so excited to see what goes on with the release of 2.0. I'm just going to show you guys an example of an account. This is actually one of our affiliates, Amy. If you guys know Amy, this is one of the GearBox accounts she has in her family. And this is running on 1.0. So even just looking at the last few months, I mean, September and October, it hit it out of the park. It's been crushing it for all 2022, not running any of the CHF pairs and running no JPY pairs. Obviously we know JPY pairs, not ideal. CHF pairs, not really as ideal either. But all the others for the most part are pretty rock solid. And, just doing 7% or so a month is up 62% since April 11th. But that's without the trailing stop loss feature. The times where this thing got into these drawdowns and these trades finally swing, many of those times, if you had a trailing stop loss, you probably could have gotten out of them before you even got into drawdown. And then if you got into drawdown and didn't get out of them, okay, well, when it finally swings, sometimes they'll swing for a lot more profit. You would have hit your take profit, but those things go another 80, 100 pips sometimes, some of those swings, then where you got out, and you could have been capitalizing on those extra movements. So that's why we added this feature. It's been so heavily requested since the beginning of time. And we're just very, very excited to be able to release this product to all of you. You're going to be able to get it all this weekend. It'll be rolled out to everyone's VPSs. We've thoroughly tested things. Again, we've been testing it internally, me and in my developer for the last, I'd say 8 months, just really making sure this trailing stop loss feature works out. It needs to work all the time because it was a big change, and that's why it is 2.0. It was no easy change. It's something that other people have attempted to do in the specific product, and it's never been able to be done. And we're just very excited to have finally cracked the code to do it, get it out to all of you, as well as start adding these pro features to allow some more customizable experiences with risk management for the advanced users. Great question I see here is, how will it interact with currently open trades? And Dr. Jeff, how that's going to work is it's simply going to remove the take profits, and it'll start trailing when it hits the take profit by the specific trail by feature in your settings. So that's going to be the update we roll out. It shouldn't affect anybody because, again, all it's doing is it's taking your current take profit, and when that would have hit, it's going to instead start trailing instead of taking it immediately out of the trade. And you can go ahead and, if you do a manager update, you can lower the take profit setting. I know most people are running Ghost plus real trades. When we roll this out, it's not going to change that to double TP on you. It'll still be Ghost plus real, your default setting, but trailing will be enabled by default in the update, as it's for safety and there won't be any adverse effects. But what we will note in that is if you go into the manager and redeploy, you'll be able to change to real trades double TP or real trades only, depending on how soon you would like that trail to kick in. You can also modify that trail number if you are understanding of the math and you would like to change any of that. But very exciting I'm just reading through some of the things, and Nick, I see your question, and actually that's something important. I'm going to roll out. The reason your software hasn't taken any trades is now that you have the trailing stop loss feature on the trades, we removed what used to be known as a trailing weekly goal. You only have a fixed weekly goal anymore. If any of you are using the trailing weekly goal, we've seen 3 cases of it, in the last year where it's trailed an account not properly. So we removed it. It wasn't very used. And now that there's trailing stop loss on all the trades, you just need a fixed weekly goal. So you will also see that removed is the trailing or fixed weekly. It's just going to be hard, fixed, unfixed, and there will be your percentage you can change there. Now that there is a trailing stop loss per all trades, as we did notice that feature had some weird effects sometimes when people deposited money on different brokers. There were some weird things with it. So we just entirely removed it. And it did sometimes also cause people's software to just randomly say equity protection hit when they weren't even in open trades. So that was all related to the trailing weekly goal feature we've had, and it wasn't heavily used. No one really used it at all. So we have removed that feature as well. So good point there. And that actually addresses the random times. If any of you have ever seen that where it said equity protection hit and you just weren't in any open trades and your software wasn't taking any trades and you had to hit reset to clear it. That won't happen anymore. It was very rare it happened, but it has happened, that specific thing a dozen times, and then 3 times account trailing not properly. So we took those edge cases, we found a solution, and we just said, let's remove this, and the trailing stop loss in all trades is the solution there. So amazing updates. We're very excited about it. And yes, 2.0 will work with a $500 account, will work with the same way version 1 worked on these things. It's just, you're not gonna, how do I put it? On a $500 account, you're most likely not going to be able to pay the monthly, unless that thing starts doing 20% a month, which it's possible, and it can kind of be done on 500 because it's a much lower balance. Once you get into 1,000, it's 10% on 1,000 is 20% on 500, right? Because the lot sizes don't get smaller than 0.01. So it is possible, definitely, absolutely. I always tell people, if you really want to kind of see this thing be able to make the money, you need to have at least $1,500, right? But if you have used the product with 500 and you already are comfortable with that and you understand it, yes, it still works that way. I'm still running a 250 account, a $500 account. I'm still running all these accounts. 250, I'm running on Super Sniper, 1 max pair trading. 500, I'm running a Sniper, 2 max pairs trading. I have these data accounts running as well. So whatever you'd like to do. What is advantage of using Ghost plus real trades? With the trailing stop loss feature, there won't be really an advantage anymore unless you're not using trailing stop. If you just want to use take profits, Ghost plus real is awesome. But if you're using trailing stop losses, I just encourage that you don't really need that feature anymore, because you can secure your profit a lot sooner. The only reason you would use Ghost plus real is if you really wanted to go for the swings all the way to that largest TP before you activated the trailing. But again, from a developer perspective, I would highly encourage, to probably use real trades double TP or real trades only with the trailing stop loss on all levels feature, as it's going to secure your profit sooner. And, you can never go broke securing profit. I should say that. So let's go through, you have to have I'm reading through. Would it be aggressive to use skip a level with trailing stop loss? Again, if you are comfortable in intraday modes, and you've used intraday modes before, yeah, it's awesome to be able to now have trailing stop loss on all levels. But again, intraday mode is riskier. I would use my best advice when using any form of product like this is you have to have a max risk no matter what. You need to know where you're going to take a loss on either the entire account percentage wise, or if you understand the pro features of close at max gears, you need to set your max gears and where you would like to close each specific pairs, trades. So that's, those are again more advanced features, and that's why the global equity protector is the easier one for most users. And I would encourage using some form of equity protection. I highly would. Why? Because we are in market conditions in today's world where you never know what can happen. If somebody announces World War III, again, something might move very abnormally than it normally does. And, sometimes things don't reverse for months when crazy news like that comes out. So, in that case, I would rather take the loss than be holding the trade waiting for a reversal. And in that case, that's why the trailing stop loss goal is to take profit sooner, not let something reverse on you. And number 2, why I encourage the use of a global equity protection variable so that you can get out of trades and secure your profit and live to see another day. Let's see, I'm just going through some of our questions here, and so far, awesome stuff. Is there a specific place to see updated pairs list? Yes, the updated pairs list was in the Telegram. I'll re-forward it and pin it in the Discord. It was pinned to the top of the GearBox Traders chat, but it is the same list. We haven't changed anything. It is still the best performers list, time and time again. Just September, there was definitely some crazy movements. I'll give you an example of a crazy movement that some of you might have remembered in September. And this is why I encourage the use of equity protection. I'm going to show you guys exactly why I encourage the use of some form of equity protection. So on my $500 data accounts, we don't use equity protection. Why? Because in order to get raw data, you need to let the thing run for the full experience. And to give you guys an example, I want to take a look at GBP USD. Some of us are familiar with what happened with GBP USD last month. In September, it went to all-time lows, never seen on the charts before, all the way back to 1987. It had never touched that part of the chart. So understanding that, GearBox for the last 2 years, so I'm going to just share my screen and show you an old data account on GBP USD because this was one of our best performing pairs. Well, GearBox for 2 years had never, until that September event, gotten in more than 10% drawdown in 2 years. And it got all the way up to 135%, just running on a $500 account by itself. Never had gotten in more than 10% drawdown on a $500 account in 2 years. And then GBP USD went to all-time lows and it took the account into the negative. And now this account has made back all the loss plus 30% already in the last month. Very impressive, right? But regardless, this is why I encourage the use of equity protection, because you never know when something like this can just happen and you're exposed to it. It's best to have a max close all in all situations to protect yourself and use risk management. A lot of traders sometimes don't believe in risk management, but the reality is the wealthiest traders in the world, they use risk management. They live to see another day. They take their losses when they need to take their losses. They're not praying and hoping for something to reverse and go their way. So in understanding that, make sure you're using a hard equity protector. Get comfortable with it. Because again, this account had never experienced 10% drawdown, and then September happened and GBP USD went to lows it's never been in 1987, and this account took a loss and then actually lived to make it back, surprisingly, which was very impressive. But the point in showing you guys that again is lost 75%, made 93% last month, already made 15% in the last 3 days in November. So again, is it a good performing pair? Yes, but you need to be able to minimize this so you can capitalize on this, even though, again, that had never happened. And since 2020, we hadn't had a negative month. We hadn't had months with no trades on this pair. But again, this had never happened since 1987. So you have to protect yourself from unexpected market events as well. And that's why I run these data accounts, to provide that data for you so that you as an end user can protect yourself and put your proper risk management in place, because I can't choose your risk management for you on the equity protection side. What I can do is I can give you templated settings that have a high success rate and profitability, show you the results from them, and let you follow the weekly calls to see the exact settings I'm doing, the exact strategies, how my accounts look, what's going on, so that again, you can achieve a very similar experience. But again, I can't force you to do anything. So you have to make those decisions on your own for where you're comfortable with your risk management. But that's the only piece of advice I'd give you with using this product in today's world is, yeah, there's crazy events in the world and you should have a max equity risk no matter what. And understand the settings. We have the risk calculator. You can put your settings into the calculator and see what that looks like. So that would be it. But with that being said, that is all for me. I believe I answered all the questions as well in the chat here. I'm just very excited about this launch to get this out to every single one of you, and stay tuned. You're going to see a lot more results, FX books, a lot of these data accounts shared for you guys to continue to follow. A lot of exciting stuff with 2.0 and Pro on the horizon. So thank you all for being here live with us. And I hope you're as excited as I am to get access to GearBox Pro and 2.0. Matt, I'll throw it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of that. Hey, you can go right now into and get it, update it, get your 2.0. If you have never used GearBox, go get GearBox and start using it. And we can't wait to hear about your testimony about how GearBox 2.0 really helped grow your finances and your wealth. So thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.